There is a really underrated AI ad generator which can help you generate graphics like these or like these right here. And in this video, I'll give you a bit of an overview of the tool. I'll show you how to generate t-shirt designs with it very easily without the need for very advanced prompting techniques. I'll run you through some of its unique features, including at the end of the video, I'll show you the mockup generator that it has built in, which is super advanced and absolutely blew my mind the first time I tried it. So the tool in question is Recraft AI. This has been recommended to me by a bunch of you in the comments, and I've been trying it over the past few weeks and I really like it. For those of you that are wondering about the pricing, the free plan, the commercial use, let's quickly go over that. First of all, you need to know it is credit based. So you can see right here on the free plan, you get 50 free credits a day, which is enough to help get used to it, test out the different features. And then the basic plan gives you 1,000 credits a month. And I've actually got a referral link in the description, which will give you 200 bonus credits if you create an account through that referral link. So that's that in terms of the plans right here. I would definitely say test it out first with a free one, but you need to know there is no commercial rights on the free plan. It says it down here. How does copyright work on Recraft? Who owns the image I create? Images created by free users are owned by Recraft. They are public and cannot be used commercially. To own your creations, keep them private and use them commercially, upgrade to a paid plan. Just so you know that, because I know a bunch of you would be asking. But yeah, this tool has a lot of stuff built in, like an upscaler, background remover, vectorizer, and they're all really good. That mockup generator that I'm going to show you at the end. So this kind of $10 plan is actually really good value for money if you consider how many things you can do with Recraft, which we're going to go into now. So the first time you log into Recraft, you're probably going to be greeted with this kind of tutorial style layout where it walks you through some of the different features right here. I'll just explain them in this video so you don't have to do this tutorial right here. But essentially, you've probably already noticed the way this works is you've kind of got a bit of an Illustrator style, Kittle style, Canvas system, or it's even similar to the Canvas feature in Ideogram now, where you can scroll around, move things around right here very intuitively if you're used to those kind of products. If you don't know how to do it, hold down space on your keyboard and then you'll get this hand symbol, which lets you click and drag to move to the left and right, up and down. And if you hold down Control on your keyboard and then use the scroll wheel on your mouse, then you can zoom in and zoom out of these graphics right here. So really easy to navigate, to kind of move things around, organize things. And then we've got on the left hand side the create new tab. This is kind of going to be your starting off point in most cases, where you can either generate a single image or vector. So you've got the raster and vector option, which is quite cool. You can generate vectors straight from a prompt and they look pretty good too. Then you've got the frame function, which lets you drag and drop images and texts into frames to generate any graphic design. To be honest, I've not really used that much because I don't see it very useful for print to demand, at least not for t-shirt design. And then image sets is really cool as well, very useful feature, which I'll cover on later. It's a little bit like the Kittle AI sets, kind of generating sets of graphics for different topics with the same style. And then the mockup generator is really cool. You definitely want to stick around for that. But just to start off, see how this works, let's click on image right here. That's kind of the simple prompting interface to get started with. It opens up this new green square right here, which oftentimes overlaps with other elements, which isn't really an issue, but if you want to stay a bit more organized and tidy, just drag this to a different place. And this is essentially where a new image is going to be generated. It shows you the width and height right here in raster format, but you can obviously, you can change this if you wanted to. And then I've got a prompt right here ready, very simple one. Let me just quickly show you how some of these things work. So this slider is just for the ratio. If you want it to be a taller format, you can do that. This is the amount of images that are being generated. By default, it's 2, which I think is enough, but you can turn this up to 4, turn it down to 1 as well. Christmas size. This is essentially a way to make your graphics or your output more Christmas themed, which I guess at the time of watching this, it's not really going to be that useful anymore, but it was quite fun leading up to Christmas playing around with that. It does take a little bit longer to generate images though. Then up here, this is quite important button to click where it says Recraft V3 Raw. That is essentially kind of this style that you're using. It's the default style for Recraft at the moment. But if we click into this, you've got a massive library right here of tons of preset styles, some of which are not really useful for POD, but there is some cool stuff. Like we've got the pixel art right here. Retro pop looks kind of cool. This grainy one, that style looks neat. I mean, these are not specifically designed for POD, but the good thing is you can also just create your own style, which is probably the best way to get good results for t-shirts. This is what I've been doing. I'll show you how to create styles in a minute. It's very easy. Essentially, just know that you can go into here and you can select a different style. For example, vector art, if you apply this style, it is going to generate vectors. And we'll actually do a comparison on that probably. This here is just a way to exclude things from the image, and then this is if you want to have a predefined color scheme. But let's just start with the default, the Recraft raw right here. Let's click on Recraft, that's generating a new image, and then I'm going to click off of this artboard, hit image again, and then at the same time you can already try out something else by the side right here. So let's click into this. I'll do vector art, hit Recraft as well, and again I'll go to the side and test out with the same prompt the illustration style. I think illustration is one of the better ones for POD for sure, at least from the ones that I've tested right here. I mean, there is a lot of them. I haven't tested all of them, but illustration seems to be quite good in terms of the presets that Recraft has. Creating your own style is definitely better. But let's hit Recraft on that too. Let's see what came out over here. So we've got the raw style, which I think that already looks pretty cool. Not perfect for t-shirts, but it's a decent result for sure. I like the colors. And then actually, is it taking this? Yeah, I think it's taken this color scheme, hasn't it? If we delete that, let's also see what a result will look like without that preset color scheme. Here we've got the vector art style. This is obviously a bit more plain, flat. Cup is slightly messed up right here with the straw, but besides that, pretty decent result also. You can see at the bottom the number of colors, which you can slide down or up this scale right here. And then you can also click into the colors and edit them. Now, of course, because it's vector format, so you could change this yellow right here, for example, very quickly, or you could browse palettes and apply them, which is a bit hit and miss, to be honest, because yeah, it oftentimes ruins the graphic, but there is the option. Let's just see what it did over here. Okay, yeah, now the color scheme seems different and a little bit more plain than what we had here, but it just shows you that just by adding this feature of color schemes, where you can also kind of generate these right here with AI or very quickly, or you can create your own color scheme, that can really impact how the graphic looks and feels and give it kind of a neat, cool vibe. But yeah, anyway, let's move on to the last one. This is the illustration style. This one, a little bit messy right here with the hands, not too happy with that. But if you just focus on the style, I think that looks pretty good for POD graphics. If you zoom out a little bit and look at all of these side by side, I think, yeah, they're all pretty decent, but we can still do better. One more thing, if you click onto the images at the bottom right here, you can select the other alternative that was generated. So in this case, I actually prefer this result, except for the floating strawberry right here. Same goes for the other images. Like if you're not happy with your first result, just click through at the bottom to see what the other ones look like. But how do you actually create your own style? Because you might not want this kind of more detailed illustration, or you might be wanting to create a kawaii themed graphic, or maybe a vintage sunset style, which is also tough to do with these presets right here that we have within Recraft. And the way to create your own style is essentially just click on any of these images, or you start creating your own one. You go into the styles and then you click create style over here, and now you need to upload 5 or up to 5 reference images. The more the better, and I've got some prepared right here, which I will also make available as a free download in the description down below. So I'll give you some reference images that kind of hit that kawaii style really well, and then you can upload those into here. I'll just do that with a few of them. Let me choose a couple. Here we go. And then you just drag and drop those into this folder right here, onto these fields, and then you can give it a name at the top. So now we'll just call this kawaii, then click add to my styles, and now it is automatically pre-selected right here. You can also, by the way, click into it, and then you've got my styles. You've got a separate tab for them, and you can also pin them to the top. So this button right here will make sure that it will always show right here amongst the top, and you don't have to go, searching for it or change the tab. You just quickly filter it through some of your preset styles, and now I just got rid of one of them. That's awesome. I might actually like that vintage sunset one. But anyway, let's go back and apply the kawaii one that we just created, and let's regenerate this prompt right here of the red panda drinking a strawberry milkshake. I'll hit Recraft right here. Also, I want to show you what it looks like with one of my vintage sunset styles right here, which creates a very different style, but it's to show you how different of an effect or result you can have if you just, like all I did for the vintage sunset one is just upload some vintage sunset graphics from one of my bundles I have on my shop on philipanders.com in my store. It's part of the 500 vintage sunset mega bundle, and I basically just pulled 5 of those into here as a preset style, and the graphics look really, really cool. Very, very POD-like, in my opinion, quite simplistic. You could probably still get them more detailed if you wanted to, like slightly amend the style, but nevertheless, here is the kawaii result, and that looks really good, except for us not drinking properly. There we go, that's a better result. But the actual style, I think, definitely nailed it there, and does look a little better than these ones down here, at least in my opinion. Maybe we'll also try what it looks like if we turn it into a vector art style, because that's another thing you can do, is if you create a style right here and you upload a bunch of reference images, then you can say, let's call this one kawaii vector. Over here on the right, you can change this from illustration to vector art, and then if you add it to your styles, and let's drag this over, regenerate this, if you now got this vector style selected, it is going to turn it straight into an SVG file, which is obviously different to this, which is still pixel based. If we zoom in right here, which brings me on to the next point, you've got background removers and vectorizers built in, as well as an upscaler. So if you've got an image selected right here at the top, that's convert to mockup. I won't cover that just yet. You've got vectorize, then you've got clarity upscale, which is essentially a 4x upscaler, I believe, and then we've got creative upscale. This one takes a lot longer. That's kind of an AI regenerative upscaler that slightly changes the details but can get better results, but it's also probably going to cost more credits. I didn't test the upscalers, to be honest. I've been using the vectorizer mostly. And then on the left hand side right here, we've got remove background. So this scissor symbol right here, if I wanted to get rid of the white background in this panda, I'll just click on that. Let's try it as well for this sunset graphic right here, remove the background. I have been using it a little bit and it is quite a good background remover. It's not quite as good as Pixian from what I've been testing, but I mean, in this case, it did a really good job actually getting rid of everything in these gaps. So yeah, it's really effective. I think it's better than ClipDrop's background remover for sure. Now that the background is gone, we can also go ahead and vectorize these. So I'll click vectorize here, and I'll click on this one and hit vectorize as well. These are now running, and let's look at the vector art style. Actually, that I think turned out pretty good as well. Yeah, I like that result. That's the second one. Like, I don't know why he sat on a chair in this case, but yeah, that's pretty neat. And now we don't have to actually vectorize it. You can turn it into a raster image right here as well if you wanted to, and you can still remove the background, which is pretty cool. I'm considering this is already a vector, so let's try that as well. Click remove background and look back at these results right here. So these have now been vectorized, and you can turn down the amount of colors on the left and you get a kind of live preview of what it looks like with less colors, which is pretty awesome because you can't do that with vectorizer.ai. And here you get a really good feel for how many colors you need. For example, yeah, I want to kind of retain this highlight at the top, and if I go down further it gets lost. So here's probably around 50 for this graphic, probably the sweet spot. We don't need 200 colors necessarily. We can turn it down a bit without losing too much detail. You can also click into the colors right here, and if you want to change anything specifically, then you can, choose the color, make amends right here. That's the benefit to using a vectorizer. And here on the right hand side, we have obviously got a lot less colors, but you can still turn these down. That actually looks quite nice as well. But yeah, that's that in terms of the raster images that have now been not upscaled, but they have been improved in terms of quality, and the background has been very cleanly removed. And here we've got the vector art preset style that I created, and also it's taken the background away very effectively in this one. So I think that shows how impressive the results can be when it comes to a preset style, and you can really make them very laser focused to give you POD centric results. And you can now supercharge this by well, first of all, let me show you how to download them. So if you click on this graphic, you can hit export up here and then select a resolution, or download it as an SVG file if you just want to resize it yourself in Photoshop, Illustrator, whatever it may be, Affinity. Well, you can also just increase the size right here and then download it as a PNG file. But the way to now supercharge these results, and you could do it in bulk as well, by the way, you can select multiple results and then export them. The way to supercharge this with the styles is with the image sets. So if you click on image set, a very large plane right here will open up. You have to probably move that away quite a bit. And now we have 6 fields right here. It's changed the style back to illustration. So I'm going to go into here and choose our kawaii style again. And then you can enter different topics right here. So I'm just quickly going to fill this out with some different evergreen niches. And there we go. I've got a pineapple wearing sunglasses, a tractor, snowmobile, cheeseburger, corgi, and a lion. And now if I hit recraft right here, it will now start generating all of these in that same style. Meanwhile, let's also drag this over because it's a good way to compare. So I'm going to change this. Let's do the vintage sunset style right here as well. Hit recraft. It's also worth noting it's only generating one image right here for each one of these versions, not two in this case. So you get 6 images in total. And as you can see, the style is very consistent amongst these. That line looks pretty good. I wish it was looking forward at the camera, but I didn't specify that. It just says the face of a lion. Corgi, also pretty cute on this skateboard right there. We've got a snowmobile, tractor. So yeah, definitely works really well to quickly generate graphics that have a very similar look. And here we have it with the kind of more simplistic vintage sunset graphics, which I could definitely see on a t-shirt design, potentially with some text added to them as well. So yeah, that's how the image sets work. Very, very effective and very fun to use for sure. Let's also, just for fun, do one with the same results right here and the kawaii style, but we're going to Christmasize it just so you can see what that looks like as well. And there we are. So he's done a good job making these look more Christmas themed without me having to change the prompts. This hamburger's now got a Santa face. We've got the corgi wearing a Santa hat. The lion is a complete Santa outfit. Some of the topics have been changed, like pineapple is now a snowman and the tractor is now a sleigh. So yeah, it's not perfect, but definitely a cool way to quickly get some Christmas themed graphics. And yeah, that's that in terms of the different image generators right here. Now, I want to show you, if we click into this project symbol, or the house symbol right at the top, you get an overview of all of your different projects that you've had, and you get these tutorial style projects right at the end in green for the different features. You also have the community feed right here, so you can see what other people have been generating. You can filter this as well by different topics, illustration, vector add, icon, etc. Favorites is if you had any of these, they'll be saved into favorites, and then history shows you your previous generations all in one place if you don't want to kind of go searching inside the project files. Now, let me show you how it deals with text, because that's always a big question. Can this AI tool generate text? And here I've got a few examples of me trying that, different prompts. You've got a unicorn lifting weights with the text magical gains underneath. And yes, it spelled everything correctly. It looks all right. It's not an amazing result, to be honest, but I mean, it did all right spelling the words, which was the main part of this test. Here, it actually did a really good job, I thought. This says a typography design with a vintage distressed Western font that says "Howdy Brother, Drink Up," isolated on a dark background. I chose the illustration style right here, and not only did it spell it correctly, but the font looks very, very Western, very cool, and definitely did a good job there. Same here. This was the same prompt. I don't know why it's showing a different prompt right here. I did use the same prompt in this case, but I think it did a better job of actually generating these graphics right here with a dark background. And again, "Howdy Brother, Drink Up," "Howdy Brother, Drink Up." No spelling mistakes. Very cool looking font. So it can do text and it can be pretty accurate, but it's not perfect. I also had some results that didn't go too well. And here the text was supposed to be "Nature is my happy place," and it just says "Nature is my," and then the happy place is kind of gone. In this case, we've got place, but happy, yeah, again, got lost. So not always perfect. This is my camping shirt. That's a prompt straight from Ideogram, and Ideogram did do a way better job with this prompt for sure. So yes, it can spell. It's not the worst in terms of spelling, but it is not up there with the likes of Flux, I would say, and Ideogram just yet. So now let me show you how to use the mockup generator, which is not only really fun to use and very unique, but it's also very useful for print on demand if you're looking for custom mockups. So in this case, I've got 3 of the graphics that we just generated right here. I've removed the background, and to create a mockup for these, you need to click on the mockup symbol. It will open up a new tile right here. It's blue in this case, or purple, and this is where we generate the actual product mockup. So you want to type in what sorts of products you want to see and be a bit more descriptive than white t-shirt, at least in my opinion. Let's start off with a lion right here, the Christmas themed one, and let's maybe do this on a coffee mug. And I would recommend starting out with a close-up of a white coffee mug for this. You want to ideally add close-up, otherwise some of them are quite zoomed out, which is not ideal. We want to be able to see the design quite clearly in the mockup. So close-up of a white coffee mug, a Christmas scene in the background, and I'll put indoors as well. Then hit recraft on this, and let's see what it comes up with. There we are. That looks pretty neat. We've got a Christmas tree, we've got some presents. The background's blurry as well, which looks good. And yeah, you can't really tell it's AI. We get this extra green field right here, which is essentially just the image generator opening up if you wanted to generate a graphic right here. But we already have a graphic, so what I'm going to do is just click on this green thing, delete it, and then I'm going to drag and drop our lion onto the mockup. It's going to load for a second, and then look at this, it's placed it onto the coffee mug automatically. It looks very strange right now, but that's just because it's too big. If you size this down, there we go. It actually places it onto the product very realistically. You know, that the highlights are overlapping right here onto the graphic, and it's kind of using this 3D bend on the corners. Looks very realistic, and it even knows where the edges of the coffee mug are. Right here, you can have it placed on the floor if you wanted to. That is, I think, really impressive how they do this. Now, if we zoom out, it looks like a pretty good mock-up. It's taken us near to no time to do this, and you can even go in here and adjust the colors. If you're not happy with, you know, the brightness of it or whatever, you can turn down the saturation. You can change the hue as well, which looks horrible. Then the brightness, you've got an option for that, contrast and opacity as well, and you can reset it at the top if you've messed it up. There's also a tile feature, which for this coffee mug probably won't make much sense, but for all overprint products, if you click on repeat down here, is it going to work? No, it's not working. We went to, no, it's not letting me do it on this one. Maybe we'll try it on the next product. Oh, now that's why I was adjusting the colors. That's why I couldn't click these things. Now I can click repeat, and if I make this smaller, you can see how it's turning this into a pattern live right here on the mockup, which is so cool. Again, not useful for the mug because it's kind of, you know, it's overlapping onto the actual handle and stuff where you can't print things, but this is still a cool feature for other sorts of products. Let's go ahead and do that for a t-shirt as well. Why don't we? Let's go with this sunset right here of the tractor. I'll go back to the mock-up generator right here, and I'll say close-up of a man wearing a white t-shirt. By the way, it's important to say t-shirt. If you just put shirt, it often generates an actual shirt with buttons. So a white t-shirt, and he's standing in front of his tractor. Let's just do that, and yeah, there we go. Recraft. Whilst that's generating, I'll move over right here to the left, and we'll do one for our panda as well. In this case, let's go with a kind of a flat lay mock-up of a sweatshirt perhaps. So I'm going to do a close-up of let's do heather gray. Let's see how it deals with that. I've not tried that yet. Heather gray sweatshirt laying on a wooden floor but surrounded by strawberries, and maybe we'll also add a couple succulents. Right, let's hit recraft on that, and now our farmer should have been generated. There we go. He's standing in front of his tractor just how we wanted him to. I'll delete this again and drag this vintage sunset onto here, then size it down, and let's take a look at that. Right, that's definitely been placed onto there. I don't know if it's, I'm not sure if this one looks too realistic. Maybe we need to tilt it a little bit. It does look good, not perfect though. I think it's the angle. If he was stood straight, that would be a lot better. So maybe something I should have specified in the prompt. But besides that, I mean, you can definitely tell it's created a pretty custom mock-up for us very quickly with that tractor in the background. And yeah, it still looks fairly realistic, even though I would have preferred if the guy is looking forward rather than kind of tilted to the side. And now we've got the flat lay here as well. Those are some giant strawberries. Wow. Or maybe it's a kid's sweater. I don't know. But yeah, besides the size of the strawberries, this looks pretty good in my opinion. Nice little flat lay mock-up right there. And again, let's place the graphic onto this. Wow, that was so easy and looks fantastic. That is such an amazing result. Yeah, and the heather actually also, you know, that looks pretty good. I didn't expect it to do such a good job of that effect. But there we have it. That is the mockup generator built in. And now, obviously, if you want to reuse these mockups as well, just drag this down, delete the original graphic, and then you can put a new one on it, right? You don't have to generate a new mockup every time. Here we go. If you've got like a specific theme for your store, then you can very quickly place graphics onto these, and they will be automatically placed on with a very realistic feel to it. Let's actually try the tile feature on this one. Let's just imagine it was an all over print. Yeah, that looks pretty awesome. It looks messy as well, like very busy now, but yeah. So that's the mockup feature. Let me know what you think of it in the comments down below, and let me know what you think of Recraft in general. Have you been using it? Have you used it in the past, or are you now planning to use it as well as an alternative to some of the other tools out there like Ideogram, Flux, Midjourney, etc. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it helps you out. Oh, and also, if you made it all the way to the end, because I know this is a bit of a longer video, comment strawberries underneath just to let me know that you made it and that you're a loyal viewer of the channel. If you're wondering which print-on-demand tools to invest into to help increase your sales in 2025, then make sure to check out this video next.